Well, I guess my first OSU football experience was being raised on a dairy farm. My grandfather was a graduate of Ohio State, and I always remember he'd always have the games on the radio on Saturday afternoon.
Well, we've been doing this. This is our 26th season of tailgating. So we started in 1993, just two of us, and it's grown into, well, I don't know. It's grown into this.
Nobody's ever a stranger. That's the thing. We're all family once we get there.
I grew up being a Buckeye fan because my dad was, and was until the day he died. So will I be.
I can remember, when I was probably 7, 8, 9 years old.
And I can probably remember me being 6 or 7, maybe, going to a Buckeye game with my dad.
My parents had an old 49 Chevy. And in those days, the radio was not hooked up to the ignition key.
It was bigger than life, that huge stadium, and it's quite an event.
So every Saturday I would sneak out to that car, turn on the football game, because it was on radio, not on TV. And I got hooked on Ohio State football.
And then my grandfather took me to my first game in 1976 to Columbus against that team up north, as we never mentioned their name, right? Because I'm a man of faith. And I believe deep down God's a Buckeye. I mean, I think we all bleed scarlet.
Disappointingly, I don't think we have a very good reputation as fans as a whole. We might get a little cantankerous, but they're very passionate. Yeah, they come out in force every time.
But the fanaticism, it runs so much deeper than just some superficial record for one season. It is 150 years old of grandparents and great-grandparents and, kids learning their first, alphabet, O-H-I-O.
Many times, if I'm flying into Chicago and I'm going down to get my luggage, I may be walking up the concourse and somebody will yell out, O-H! And I yell back, I-O. I mean, they've spotted that hat, and they don't recognize me as anybody connected to Ohio State. They just recognize the fact that this guy is an Ohio State fan.
It happens all over the world, quite frankly. We have, as we call it, Buckeye Nation. It's Buckeye International, really.
Ohio State fans, they're like kind of like cockroaches. If you won, there's always a few more around. And I'm in this bar in this city in the middle of Guatemala, and of course a few more Buckeye fans than this one Michigan fan showed up to watch the game, and somebody screamed OH. We all responded IO, and the Michigan fan said, "You guys from Ohio are so stupid, it takes two of you to spell Ohio." I think he got me on that one.
Kind of like patriotism. Why does one have a patriotic feeling for his own country? It's kind of a loyalty thing for your connection to an institution.
If you ask Ohio State fans what's the greatest stadium in the country, it's Ohio Stadium. Ohio Stadium may be the most famous landmark, the most famous structure in the state of Ohio, really. It's right in the middle of the state. The school has captured 8 national championships. So many big games have been there. It now seats, way over 100,000. It's been expanded many, many times.
Well, you can imagine kids come in, they go to the game, they like what they see. They had good teams. They start listening to it on the radio, following it in the newspaper, and then as they got older, they would tell their kids about this great experience they had at this football game. Their kids would go experience it. Then Grandpa would talk about it.
My ticket was $170. One ticket. Now, who does that kind of stuff? Why would you do that? And sit in the game in the rain, cold, windy, miserable conditions. But you keep thinking, well, the guys down on the field, it's the same there as it is in the stands. I can put up with it.
So there's a lot of little moments, but if I had to carve out one, it still is the first time I put the uniform on and ran out of Ohio Stadium into the shoe with the fans. I mean, there's nothing like it. And I've hiked Mount Rainier, I've done marathons, I've jumped out of airplanes, I've done everything. There's nothing like it. There's nothing. You put your uniform on and run out of that tunnel. That's a special moment.
It's just a thrill to go into Ohio Stadium. For younger people, they're seeing history being made. For me, when I go into Ohio Stadium, it brings back so many memories of those great seasons of the past. And I can see Hopalong Cassidy playing. I can see a guy like Mike Vrabel, one of the greatest defensive players ever back in the 1990s.
The noise, everybody screaming, and you just got to get in tune with what they're doing and just sort of make your own noise.
I mean, when you're in the stands, I mean, you're high-fiving people, you don't know who they are. But, during those games, just everybody's there as a Buckeye.
One of the reasons I think we won that game against Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago was the crowd. The crowd noise was unbelievable when they had the ball. Then the stadium was silent when we were on offense.
And so individually, you're not a whole lot by yourself. But see, when you put them all together, 100,000 fans screaming like crazy, absolutely, having fans that are as passionate as Ohio State, which, by the way, we've got the best in the country. But having those kinds of fans certainly is, like our secret weapon.
You always wonder, will you continue to do something? And so I had thoughts about maybe, discontinuing being the Big Nut, and then we started a scholarship foundation for high school seniors that are going to attend the Ohio State University, and that became the search engine or the drive to continue to do what we do. It's people helping people in the Buckeye Nation. That's how we feel that it should be.
So what is it about being a Buckeye fan that brings all these people together? What's this passion come from?
Camaraderie, the heart, showmanship.
But I think the great thing about tailgating and Buckeye football, it's all about the community. And it's all about just getting together, celebrating, being a Buckeye.
And it's not just about friendships, like you said earlier. This is our chosen family.
I'm just a fat guy with face paint, but I mean, they're just as passionate as I am, and that's what drives me to be the passionate fan that I am, is because I feed off of other fans in the stands in the Buckeye Nation, because I think the fans have a somewhat of a responsibility, not just to sit there and sit on their hands, drink beer, and get drunk and be stupid. But I think that the idea is fans should back and rally their team 100%. When you put over 100,000 Buckeyes into the horseshoe, you're going to come together as one. It's one huge Buckeye Spirit is inside that horseshoe on game day. It's that exemplifies to not just the players on the field, but to the world. People see the passion of what the Buckeyes are all about in Ohio State.